That's most of the exciting stuff. We have done so much in the last 10 years. But has anybody got any questions? Yes?
Are we ever going to try to get UP?
UP has 526 beds, and it was built in 3 phases, and it was built by a developer who who developed it beyond its capacity to support itself. If that makes sense. It's like building a house that costs you $10 a month to run and renting it for $8. And unfortunately, the person, the developer that built it, had died very young, and all the property went into receivership. The center building was bought by Walker Campus. And they own a lot of houses around here and do a real good job. The other 2 buildings are being run by another campus housing group, and from my understanding, the bondholders who were going to take the big loss have bought the property. Will Winthrop ever own it? I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. It's very expensive to run something like that, and as she found out, the lady that had developed it. Our courtyard remains very popular, and either this summer or next summer, last summer we did the carpet and paint on 2 floors, and we're either going to do that this summer, maybe next summer, because of the economy. That answer your question? Anybody else? Okay, yes. No, you can't park wherever you want to.
No, why do we decide to move the library? Why don't we move the building?
All right, that's a good question. As we were doing this planning process over 20 years, there's 3 functions that every successful school must have. You've got to have wellness, you've got to have a good student union, and you've got to have a good library. Going back to my analogy of the X through the thing, and this is the center of the campus, we wanted those 3 functions in the center all together with synergy. Well, here's another interesting thing I'm going to tell you about. This plan was done at a time where it just showed there a big rectangular or green spot in front of the campus center. When the building was designed, it was intended just to have a couple of large X sidewalks out there. It was terrible. Well, separate from this project, I had an issue with getting stormwater, the rainwater, to the stormwater creek that runs under the road down here behind University Place in the courtyard. And we needed to do something to contain the water. And I know all of y'all are probably more environmentally sensitive than we were when I was in school. But our water quality, water's going to become just as important as oil, and you'll see that in your lifetime. Because there are a lot of us. We use water for everything. Processing, irrigation, of course, cooking, personal hygiene, drinking, blah, blah, blah. Water is everything. Without water, we wouldn't be here. So it's very, very important that we maintain the quality of our water. And a lot of that has to do with the stormwater. Every drop of rain that falls out of the sky wants to go to the ocean. And right now, under my feet are 607 feet off the height of Myrtle Beach. So if a drop of water falls here at 607 feet, it's trying to go down to Myrtle Beach. And it gets there through storm creeks, pipes, tributaries, river systems. They're all flowing downhill and they're all looking for the ocean. So every time somebody throws a cigarette butt in the curb, some of that nicotine washes off of that cigarette butt and goes into the storm system and goes into your drinking water. Every time an antifreeze drops out of a car and the rain hits it, it goes into a storm drain goes to the creek, it goes to the river, and it goes to your drinking water. So what you have to do nowadays is try to catch the stormwater in detention ponds, and encourage it to soak into the ground where it filters, or slow it down as it goes into the storm creek to keep it from picking up all the sediment and sand and antifreeze and just rushing it into your drinking water. So what this project originally had was a 60-foot wide, 200-foot tall, 6 foot tall, 60-foot wide, 200-foot long concrete tank. It was going to be under this lawn to hold and detain that water to keep it from rushing out into the Storm Creek system. And then it had this X sidewalk thing. It was just terrible. So we challenged the engineers to come up with a way to catch the storm water without building a big underground swimming pool, where it would be a park when it wasn't raining. And they came back with that idea of the campus green. When you look at the campus green, there's 3 circles. Each one of those circles is about 3 feet deep, which doesn't look like much to your eye just looking at that great big 200-foot diameter circle. But that thing holds a huge amount of water, way more water than that concrete vault would have been. And they're also staged as 3 circles at different heights. So as the storm water comes down, it'll fill up that big circle. If it gets real full, it overflows into one of those little bridge things, goes up the second circle. The third circle has a bypass loop that comes around, and if the lines that go under Alumni Drive get full of water and can't take anymore, it'll back up into that circle. If all 3 of them fill up, it overflows out into that service drive that goes under the building. And so far, it has worked like they thought. There were 24 projects submitted last year for Engineering Project of the Year. That one was number 2 instead. But going back to thinking ahead and how things are going to be 5 years down the road, that's the way we've all got to think. That's what your generation needs to do. Let's not dig a big square pit at the end of the shopping mall to fill up with stormwater. Let's make a park. When it's raining, it does its job. It works really good. I'm sorry, I get excited about stuff like that. Anything else?
What did you say that the system was called again?
It's a detention pond,
Okay.
stormwater detention. But it's a park. 99% of the time it's a park.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we had last year we had a blowout. The underground sprinkler line blew out behind Martin Nance.
Oh, yeah, I was right.
Did you notice how it filled up it filled it up? And it just slowly went down. It's like the neck of an hourglass when you think about it that way. If you turn an hourglass over, it takes a long time for the sand to go through. Well, each one of those little ponds has a little small drain in it. It's like that neck of that hourglass to encourage it to soak into the ground. And what doesn't, it's very slowly let off into the creek. And plus the grass is picking up the cigarette butts and stuff. You see people throwing in cigarette butts going, Mr. Hardin hates that. I pick up 100 cigarette butts a day. A lot of people won't do that. Every time I see somebody throw one down, I'm like, somebody's got to pick that up. We might pay somebody $7 an hour to go pick that up. Is that what you like to do for a living? Don't throw something nasty out of your mouth out on the ground. Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, that's okay. Thank you.